Hi everyone. Right, I've made some progress on this Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition bootleg board. A few updates, I guess, from my other video. So it is a US bootleg, no red flag, stripe, whatever it is, rainbow and all that. It's just a plain vanilla US Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition bootleg. So I managed to get into the test screen like a dope. I thought this was the bank that needed to have the pins on it, but that's bank A. It's bank C that needs pin 8 switched up to make it go into test mode when you start it up. That didn't really help. It just seems to show all ROMs and everything are working fine, which they appear to be anyway. I've done some tests. I switched all these around. This says, you might be able to see 3 here, but the mask ROM says 5 on it, so I tried to put them in order and it went all glitchy. So that didn't really work, but it didn't seem the graphics and everything and the gameplay seems to be fine. Seems to be it needs a super high voltage to get it to run without Ryu's sprite being in the way. 2 comments I had on the last video were to adjust the voltage. So this is my new super gun. It's a bit dusty because it's been in here testing, but it's way better than, well, way nicer finish than my other one, and it's got a little hole at the side, and so you can adjust the internal power supply. So I have to crank it up to, well, it's getting nearly to 6 volts for it to run without glitchiness, without the sprites all overlaying in the corners and all that jazz. So that's something I don't know whether I can fix or not, why it's drawing so much current. It could just be it's just a slightly badly designed board, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so what I've done as well, I've made a kick harness. This is a CPS1 standard kick harness wiring. Going to the, you can't see it's in shadow, going to the back of my super gun, so that you have all the kicks. This is just a header from an old digital TV box that broke, which I scavenged for parts and seems to fit perfectly. And this cable is a Mega Drive 1 pad cable, because I have a 9-pin socket on the back of my super gun. So okay, 2 minutes, that's quite a lot of waffle. The repairs I've done, player 1 didn't have any heavy punches, so I traced back from the edge connector here, and it drew me into this bank of LS245s. One of them was already socketed, so I assumed that had been repaired in the past, so I switched that for one in my stock in the shed. It didn't change anything, so I retraced it all, and it seemed to come up to this socket here, well, this chip here. So I cut it out, fitted some sockets, or a socket, and tried the game without it. And player 2 had no movement or punches, so I put a chip in and it all came back. So this was the only one that was left, so I snipped him out, socketed him, and without a chip player 1 didn't do anything, no punches or movement. So I put a chip in and everything's working now, so he's got all punches and all movement is fine. So excuse me, that was a very small repair. You could play the game without, but it was nice to do it. So then I started feeling around the board, and this area was getting very hot, well, very warm, this bank of LS245s. So I used my logic probe, and these 2 here were one was stuck low all the way along the top, and the other one was stuck fairly high, stuck high on a load of pins. So I've taken them out and replaced them, and that did something. I can't remember what. It took away a little bit of glitchiness, I think, but I can't really remember what it did, because they were the first changes I did. They must not have done very much, because I started tracing across and they get fed, or they lead into, this bank of 6116 SRAMs. Sorry. So I've cut out and socketed, oh excuse me, these three, and this one here I didn't have a socket at the time, I just replaced it. And without them in, you'd lose the foreground graphics and some colours. And that's what happened when I changed him out, but it didn't get rid of any of the glitchiness. So I switched out this one, and loads of the glitchiness went. Oh, and I was finding on several levels the background, the game would bounce. The screen here would flick down, flick back up, and then wiggle, flick, 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 like this. On Blanca's stage, Zangief's, Ken's was really bad. So I switched him out, and the levels stopped bouncing. So I had a bad SRAM, but there was still glitchiness on the flags on the player select levels. So I've switched out these, and pretty much all the glitchiness has gone now. So I seem to have had a bank of bad RAMs. So hopefully it will run now. Now I'm going to video it. So here we go. I'll power it up. There we go. I'll let it run through the attract screen. There you go. I get voltage wiggle lines just on the very edges, but that's really all there is now. Oh, the KO when everything was moving, if you remember, from if you've seen the other video, that has all gone now. I've changed one of the 6116s down there, or changed both of them. So I was getting glitchiness through all here, which is now gone with the change of the RAM. It still flicks in occasionally, I think just due to the high voltage that's being cranked through it. But as you can see, compared to my other video, this looks pretty darn good. I've played through the whole game with Ryu and everything works, so I'm gonna tag that as done, I think. The sound still buzzes a little bit, but like somebody said on my last one, it's a bootleg, so there's not much you can do there. This was all bouncing around before, now that's static. So we'll let it run through another attract and that'll be it. I'll give it a play through it again. So I'm really pleased actually, it's the first time I've ever repaired an arcade board, other than repairing that pin on the CPS2 board, but I don't class that as a repair because I didn't have to do any chips or logic probing or any of that. So yeah, I'm really pleased. I didn't think I'd actually be able to do it, but I watched loads of videos on YouTube and then just finally went screw it and got my snips and cut the chip out and gave it a go, and working away, plugging away, I ended up with this. So it's quite good, I think, for a bootleg. There we go. Alright, cheers for watching and any help that you guys have given me. I'm going to play it now, see you later.